We were all able to witness the mere mention of a trade meeting with China and the effects that it has on the US markets. Dow Jones, just on the mere mention of a trade meeting with China, not tomorrow, but next month, drove the Dow as high as 480 points today. It closed up 372 points. Ask yourself, what was it all based on other than the optimism that we're going to have a meeting, just a meeting, not today, not tomorrow or next week, but next month with China. And that's all it took to push the Dow Jones, to drive the Dow Jones 480 points in the positive today, closing 372 points up. It is Thursday, September 5th, 2019. Quick video today. I'm just almost disgusted with watching these markets, the manipulation, the rigging, everything based on optimism, more promises with these meetings. How long have we been hearing about these meetings with China, these negotiations? Oh, it's going well, it's not going well. You know, market up 500, market down 500. We're going to slap tariffs on them. They're going to slap tariffs on us. The farther we deal with China, the longer that these negotiations go on, it seems like the more tariffs that are being applied to China and more tariffs being applied to America, it seems like it's not heading in a good direction. But by the mere announcement that we're going to have meetings, or we're going to have a meeting with China next month, is all it takes. I mean, that should tell you about these markets. Do you really trust these markets when just the announcement of a meeting is all it takes to drive a market, 500 points in the positive? And again, we've been hearing about these negotiations forever, and we have seen nothing become of any of these negotiations except more tariffs on both sides. What amazes me is that these markets continue to buy this story. They continue to buy this. And how much longer will these markets buy this? Are we going to be negotiating in 2020 and being told the same story? Negotiations are going well. We'll be meeting for more negotiations next month. How long does this go on? I truly believe that China is just stringing this president on, buying time, hoping that he is not reelected in 2020. Or think about this: how about they string this president along, string America along, that we'll negotiate, every month. We'll come to the table, but we're not going to resolve anything. We're at a stalemate. We're at a standstill. But how about at the very end, before the elections, they walk away and we get no deal? They could literally drop a hand grenade on this president's lap and destroy his chances for re-election in 2020. Think about that. Is that a possibility? Are they setting this president up for a loss? A loss with the trade negotiations and the loss with the re-election. Think about that. Are they just stringing him along now, and the whole plan is to just walk away at the very end, and that will really, I believe, affect his chances of re-election. We've had no progress at all up to this point with China, and everything we're being told now is a pipe dream. Things are heading, in a positive direction. We're close to a deal. China wants to talk. How much longer do these markets and the American people continue to buy these stories? I believe China's playing a very, very technical game here, and we'll see. We're going to see how it all plays out. Maybe we do get a deal. And if we do get a deal, what kind of deal will it be? And will China stick to the deal? Are they going to stop stealing intellectual property? We're running this $300 to $500 billion a year deficit with China in this trade war. Are they willing to just walk away from that? Does China really need America as much as America needs China? China is making everything. America's not. China knows that Asia is growing, and Asia is going to be the next big economy for the world. They're going to be really depending on Asia way more than they are America. I think we have to really remember that China is a communist regime. This country is a world superpower, and they want to be dominant. They want to have the world reserve currency. They already have the biggest bank in the world, the biggest military in the world, the biggest population in the world. They're the biggest manufacturer in the world. And we must be very, very cautious with China. They want to be the world dominant force. And if we do not stand up to China right now, like this president is trying to do, the world is going to change. The torch is being passed over to Asia. And America, unfortunately, is becoming weaker and weaker while Asia is growing. It's becoming stronger. China, stronger. And we must be very, very cautious with China. I believe they are the #1 enemy of America. You know, they're running a huge trade surplus with America even at this point. Their economy is growing 3 times faster than the U.S. economy. They produce 50% of the world's steel. And the largest component of their GDP is manufacturing at 46.8%. That is what makes up their GDP. Almost 50% of the GDP is manufacturing. Do you know what? How much manufacturing makes up the U.S. GDP? I'm going to tell you right now, 11%. You cannot be a dominant world superpower if your GDP is composed of 11% of manufacturing. That's not going to work. 70% of our GDP is consumption. How do you think we're going to contend and challenge China 5 or 10 years from now when all we do is consume? 11% of our GDP is manufacturing, and that's falling, while almost 50% of China's GDP is manufacturing. Think about that. I know people don't want to hear reality. They don't want to believe it, but that's reality. Consumption and the service sector is now replaced investment and manufacturing as the new growth engines here in America. Here's what's growing in America. Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, manicurists, pedicurists, dietitians, people making coffees at Starbucks, people cleaning hotel rooms at all the resorts. This is what is making up the U.S. economy, these $10, $12, $15 an hour jobs. The middle class in America is being decimated, while in Asia, the middle class is booming. America really better wake up to what is going on. I know it's great to see the stock market up today based on literally nothing, based on pipe dreams, based on optimism. But the reality is this is heading in a very dangerous direction. And I know people are going to say, oh, look, the metals, got hit today. The Dow Jones was up 372 points. Nothing is wrong. Everything is okay. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Listen, we're continuing to see major volatility in these markets. We will see pullbacks in the metals markets. We are going to see continued volatility in the stock market. But again, as I've said many times before, what's happening in the stock market is completely irrelevant to what's happening in the real world on Main Street. The stock market and Wall Street are completely detached from reality of what's really happening in the real world. Listen, we'll get the job numbers tomorrow, and they'll be completely manipulated also, because if you're getting a job and you're working 15 or 20 or 25 hours a week, or you're working for Uber or Lyft, or you're doing nails or making coffees, whatever it might be, or you've got 1 or 2 side hustles, I don't really think that matters. I mean, all of these stats have been so manipulated over the years. The unemployment numbers, the job numbers, and everything's been so manipulated. The stock market with corporate buybacks, 0%, interest rates, negative rates coming soon, and quantitative easing. So we can manipulate numbers all we want, but the fact of the matter is, When you go out and you drive around your local city or you go to any of the large urban cities in America, take a look at the infrastructure, take a look at the 80,000 homeless people wandering the streets like zombies in Los Angeles. I can drive 5 minutes from my house and be at a tent city. So this is the reality. These are the facts of what's really happening in America. Homelessness is rising. Drug use is rising. We are being invaded from people from all over the world, just coming right into America. Yet we're going to have to do background checks, give birth certificates and driver's licenses for ID to buy a box of ammunition at a Walmart. So the American citizen in the middle class is being decimated, while people can walk right over here into America without any identification, get 3 meals a day, a roof over their head, and an education, and be allowed to vote. This is your country. This is what's happening right now. But another article I want to go over today is on wolfstreet.com. While the Dow Jones was up 372 points today, orders for heavy trucks plunged 80% in August. That should tell you something about the real economy. Down 80.1% in August compared to last August. 10 months in a row of year-over-year declines. Second month in a row of 80% declines in the heavy trucking orders. Freight shipment volume in the U.S. by all modes of transportation, truck, rail, air, and barge, fell 5.9% in July from July of last year. Obviously, some of this has to do with the trade war, and a lot of it has to do that people are tapped out and not buying as much stuff. And so I believe people are going to continue to buy less as they continue to get more and more tapped out. People are going to be consuming with money that they don't have, on borrowed money, on credit cards. There are still people out there that haven't paid off their credit cards from last Christmas. They will come back in this December and they're going to shop and put it all on credit cards and continue to acquire more debt. Remember, 70% of the US GDP is consumption. America cannot stop consuming, whether they have money or not. They're going to use borrowed money. They will run their credit cards up to infinity until they no longer work. And this is what is supporting the US economy, not the stock market. Okay, the stock market looks great. We're back to near-time highs, while many people haven't even paid off last December's credit cards, while most people have massive credit card debt, while we are, watching an increase in bankruptcies for businesses and the U.S. citizen, while we know that 7 million people are 90 days plus delinquent on auto payments, while we're starting to see more people defaulting on their mortgages, and the average household debt is at all-time highs, average corporate debt, all-time highs. The U.S. debt, $22.5 trillion and climbing every second. This is not a healthy economy. The American infrastructure, the American household, the American corporation, the American government, all of it is very unhealthy. And at some point, it is going to come tumbling down. And it doesn't matter where the stock market is. I don't care if the stock market goes to 40,000 points. We know what is really happening. That stock market is a complete illusion, rigged, manipulated. They're lying to you. You know what is really happening here in America. SHTFplan.com, Bank of America warning, the big top is coming down. Bank of America top strategist Michael Hartnett, enjoy 2019 right now while you can. The big top is coming down. Bank of America economists are becoming concerned that the tariffs are permanent. When you look at some of the problems we have right now, here's just a few of them. The trade war, the currency war, hawkish Fed, Brexit, Iran oil sanctions, and the biggest ticking time bomb is debt. Global debt at all-time highs, U.S. debt all-time highs. Here's an interesting one too. Fed buys $14 billion in U.S. bonds in 2 weeks. This is raising eyebrows because is this the beginning of QE4? The Fed ended its treasury run off sooner than they communicated. This is just some of the things they lied to us about. Remember? So let me repeat. The Fed ended its treasury runoff sooner than they communicated, than they said. They cut rates when they said that they weren't. Buying mid and long-term buying mid and long duration bonds while aggressively selling off notes and bills. Again, opposite of what they said they would do. This Fed is no friend of yours. It's no friend of America's. And I believe the Fed should be ended. Let's talk about this. We got a rate cut also coming. And these markets know that we have yet again another rate cut coming. I thought it would be 50 basis points. But when I see what's going on today, and all it takes is to just say that there's going to be another meeting with China, and now we're back to almost all-time highs. We'll probably get some good job numbers tomorrow, and everything's going to be okay. So I think at this point we're going to go with 25 basis points now, guaranteed, unless the bottom falls out from now to then. But I think they're going to limp this thing along, tell everybody what they want to hear, keep propping up these markets. QE4 may have already begun, and so we will get a quarter point cut this September. Again, anything to help these markets, whether it's talk of meetings, whether it's rate cuts, whether it's bond buying, whether it's corporate buybacks, anything they need to do to prop these markets up. Remember, the Fed is not your friend. They are now in bed with the stock market. Their sole purpose now is to keep the stock market propped up. They could care less about you. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. Before I go, if you get a chance, please comment down below. I would love to know your opinion on what we just witnessed today regarding the China trade talks, the trade meeting with China next month, and the influence, just by mentioning a trade meeting with China, the influence that it has on these markets. It drove the Dow Jones up 480 points at the height today. And I'm absolutely, just shocked when I see something like this happen. The amount of influence that just mentioning a meeting taking place has on these markets. Let me know your opinion and your thoughts and why you think it has so much influence on these markets. A lot of people read the comments, and I try to read as many as I can. My friends and family read tons of these comments. And I know that there's a lot of people that enjoy the comments even more than my videos, because there are such brilliant people that write in those comments, such intellectual, open-minded people, super intelligent, and they make you think. I read some of these comments, and it really makes me think outside of the box. It opens up new scenarios. It gives me new ideas. It really gives me different ways to forecast future events in the economy, great ideas on prepping and preparing for economic events coming to America. And so please comment down below. We would all like to know what you think. And to everybody out there, what do you think is going to happen with these negotiations with China? Are we going to get a deal? Are we not going to get a deal? Are they setting Trump up? Are they stringing him along and going to just, flip the table up before the election and walk away with no deal just to throw mud in his face and to ruin his chances for re-election? Is that a possibility? Or are we going to get a deal? Do they need us more than we need them? How's it going to play out? I would love to hear from everybody. Please let me know. In closing, make sure you are praying for this country. We're in trouble no matter any way you look at it. We have been, really just witnessing an illusion here with these markets. People have been living basically in a bubble, an illusion for the most part. So many Americans unprepared for the uncertainty coming. A lot of people just not willing to accept reality. But, how's it all going to play out? If we get a deal with China, is it really going to change things? Because what about the debt? What is really the biggest threat to America? Is it the China trade war, or is it the debt that we've acquired here, living beyond our means? Comment down below. I would love to know what you think, and make sure you share this video with everybody, your friends, family, your church, everybody on social media. Get this out on Facebook. As you know, they're making it much more challenging to find channels like this. So make sure you share this video with everybody, and make sure you're praying for this country and praying for your fellow American. God bless every one of you, and I'll talk to you very soon.